What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to LIFM. I'm here with PTP.
What's up, peoples?
And we're going to be doing a deck review for the Commander 2018 deck, Subjective Reality. And the main commander for this one is Saheeli, the Gifted. It's 2 colorless and blue and a red for 4 loyalty planeswalker. Her +1 creates a 1/1 servo artifact creature token. Her other +1 says the next spell you cast this turn costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control. And her ultimate says for each artifact you control, create a token that's a copy of it, and those tokens gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. What do you think of this card?
I think it's a good card. It's the only one of the commanders that protect themselves, so that in itself is good. It can start ticking itself up right away. The second +1 ability is super strong, especially in this deck. Its first +1 ability helps make the second ability stronger, so that's an inbuilt synergy.
True.
But I mean, in a deck that's built around commander artifacts, you're going to be getting it's going to set up some big turns where you're going to be able to play some expensive stuff for cheap.
Absolutely. And it doesn't specify the next artifact spell or the next instant or sorcery spell. It just says the next spell.
Exactly.
Which gives you a lot of versatility. My only pet peeve is I wish she made Thopter tokens that flew instead of just servos. But I mean, that's...
I don't think they wanted to give them flying because it comes out 4 and you're putting out 1 more flyers.
That's my opinion. Yeah. I feel that would have been pretty cool, but overall, she's okay. It's not the strongest one in my opinion.
I think the ultimate's very situational.
Very. You know, I've seen people can ultimate it and all they have are servos and stuff, and it just makes no sense to use the ultimate at all. Alright, let's move on to the sub-commanders. So first we have Thanos, Urza's Apprentice, and he is blue-red for 1/3 with haste. He's a human artificer, and you can pay blue-red to tap him and copy target activator or triggered ability you control from an artifact source. You may choose new targets for the ability.
Good card. Haste makes him, and comes out quick, cheap activation costs, and artifacts have strong ability, so I think he's gonna have some interesting decks built around him.
Yeah, he's again very situational, but this is an artifact deck, and if you're gonna use him as a commander, you're gonna make sure it's very artifact themed.
Exactly.
Let's move on to Brudiclad Telcor Engineer. He's 4 colorless and blue and the red for a 4/4 legendary artificer. Creature tokens you control have haste, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 blue mirror artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. What?
This is the card I'm hyped for. It's so much fun. There's gonna be so much shenanigans with tokens and making just so much cool things. I think are gonna be opened up with the possibilities with this deck.
Mm-hmm.
And what's great is that a lot of these cards you can make a token that's a copy, so then it opens up even more creatures that could be copied. So I think we're gonna see a lot of strange and wacky outcomes. So I'm interested to see what people have brewed up.
Also, the original Saheeli Planeswalker does copy creatures, make tokens. So you could run, if you're modifying the deck, you could run her in here. He seems the most fun to me out of the 3, to be honest. So I like him. Let's move on to the other mythics, which there's not a lot in this deck. Soul of New Phyrexia, 6 for 6/6 with trample, and you can give your stuff indestructible.
I guess so. The indestructible is good. It stops the huge board wipe of all your artifacts. But I mean, it's a little bit underwhelmed with the mythics.
But again, the second ability on Saheeli, this guy can come out for free a lot of times.
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on to the rares. We have Echo Storm here, 5 mana sorcery. When you cast a spell, copied for each. Oh, so it's one of those ones.
Mm-hmm.
So you copy for each time you cast your commander from the command zone this game. And you may choose new targets for the copy, and this one creates a token that's a copy of target artifact. Which that synergizes with that other guy.
Or Brutaclad, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Thoughts?
Like the card, I said I like it even more with Brutaclad. I like a lot of these cards in this deck better with Brutaclad, obviously. But yeah, I like the card. I think it's fair cost to it. It's not too cheap. Could even have been 6, so it's
could have been
even
6.
been 6. So they gave us at a decent price, but it's not too cheap. At like it could have been at 4.
And thank God it's not an instant.
Yes, thank God.
All right, so Vidalcan Humiliator.
Yep.
All right, it's 4 mana for a 3/4, and he has Metalcraft. So whenever he attacks, if you control 3 or more artifacts, creatures your opponents control lose all abilities and have base power. Okay, that's why it's a Humiliator.
Yep.
And have base power and toughness 1 of 1 until end of turn. It's pretty good.
Yeah, he is straight flexing on man. So.
Yeah, that's really good, and he does not target.
Yeah, he's the only downfall is that
card.
he has to attack, and he can't keep doing it over and over again because they're probably if they have at least 4 creatures they can block it.
True.
But other than that, like it's a very strong card.
Yeah, I like that card. Okay, so Enchanters Bane is 2 mana enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, target enchantment deals damage equal to its converted mana cost to its controller, unless that player sacrifices it. Wow. I have some decks that this would really hurt me in.
It's a good card. What's good about this card is it's so much better than target player sacrifices enchantment because you play on something good and you tempt them to literally take the damage. So if it's something that doesn't really need to go away, sometimes you can trick people into taking a bit more damage than they should be. Especially from high costing artifacts.
Well, if they're...
enchantments.
Yeah, if they're playing a bunch of enchantments, this is rough.
Yeah.
Alright, this is really rough. Alright, so Healy's Artistry. It's a 6 mana sorcery. You can choose one or both. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact. And or you can create a token that's a copy of target creature, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. This again is just going towards that token theme.
Yep.
Copying your artifacts or whatever else. Pretty good. And the fact you can choose one or both, I like that too.
Both, please.
Next we have Treasure Nabber, 3 mana, 3/2. Whenever an opponent taps an artifact for mana, gain control of that artifact until the end of your next turn. What do you think of this?
Stealer and Mana Rocks.
That's exactly what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's self-explanatory.
Of course he's a goblin. Goblins like shiny things, man. That's what it comes down to. Next we have Varchild, Betrayer of Kaldor. If I'm saying that wrong, just hold that. It's a 3 mana, 3/3 legendary human knight. And whenever he deals combat damage to a player, that player creates that many 1/1 red survivor creature tokens. Survivors your opponents control can't block, and they can't attack you or planeswalker you control. Politics.
Very political card.
And when he leaves the battlefield, you gain control of all survivors. I like this card.
So yeah, it's fun. It's super fun.
It looks fun.
And the best part is it only costs 3 to come out, so
you can make deals about who you're gonna attack and give tokens to.
Yeah, it's a very interesting card. Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to Ancient Stone Idol. It's a 10 mana 12/12 golem with flash. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature. So this is an ambush viper. Just really, really a lot bigger. Has trample. Okay. And when Ancient Stone Idol dies, create a 6/12 colorless construct artifact creature token with trample. So he actually leaves something behind in addition to just being 12/12.
Yeah.
It's a nice card.
Very good card. Comes in cheaper than the 10 in the casting cost
And flash.
And flash even if you want to hard cast it, a surprise.
Yeah, even if they're not attacking, at the end of your turn.
Yeah, flash 12/12 trample.
It's pretty good.
Changes the combat situation. Definitely. And then the fact that he leaves back at 6/12 is no joke either.
Yeah, with trample.
Yeah, with trample.
Alright, so Healy's directive is triple red and X. It has improvise. Reveal the top X card of your library. You may put any number of artifact cards with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then put all cards revealed this way that weren't put into the battlefield into your graveyard. It's kind of like a pseudo-Genesis Wave, but it's for artifacts.
Genesis Wave for artifacts, and like the improvise is a nice flavor touch there too.
Yeah, and there's not much else to say. Pretty solid in this deck.
Yeah, in this deck.
And this is a 2-color deck, so triple red is not as taxing as it would be
in a 3-color.
In a 3-color deck. Next we have Endless Atlas, 2 mana, 2 and tap to draw a card. Activate this ability only if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. So basics.
Yeah.
Because this is EDH.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a 2-color deck again. Should be pretty easy to use. And we have Retrofitter Foundry. It's 1 for an artifact. You can pay 3, untap. Okay, untap it. You can pay 2, tap it to create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. Where are my Thopters, man? You can pay 1 to sacrifice a servo to create a 1/1. Okay, there we go. You can sack a servo to create a colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. And you can sacrifice a Thopter to create a 4/4 colorless construct artifact creature token. I kind of like this card.
Good card, great mana sink when you have nothing to do with your mana.
Yeah. You can build up.
And he untaps itself. It only costs 1 to come out.
Basically, if you have enough mana, you can do all the abilities in the same turn.
Yep.
And early game, you play for 1. Even if you play turn 1, you can start making tokens pretty immediately.
Yep.
Alright, we have Aether Gale here. It's a 5-mana sorcery. Returns 6 target non-land permanents to their owner's hands. I like that it's a sorcery, to be honest. So we don't need any more of this bullshit being at instant speed. What are your thoughts on this card?
Yeah, it's okay. Like I said, sorcery's good. Blue has enough tools already.
Yeah. Next we have Coveted Rule. It's a 6-mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you draw 3 cards. Okay. Wait. And it adds 3 mana of any one color?
Yeah, but next ability.
Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls attack you and are unblocked, that player draws 3 cards and gains control. Okay. Alright, because I was going to be like, this seems like just a better Gilded Lotus.
Yeah, that would have been a little too strong.
But I just have to not take 3 hits.
Not take 1 unblocked creature.
1.
So if you...
I thought you said 3.
No, if 1 creature comes through unblocked, Coveted Jewel untaps and that player draws 3 cards.
Well, that's why I have Retrofitter Foundry.
That's exactly what you have.
Right? I can block stuff. I still like Coveted Jewel.
Super fun card. I mean, this is more of what we need. Like this is interactive cards, fun cards, and it keeps the game going. It stops games from stagnating.
It's a strong card with drawback too, which I.
But what I like is that it keeps the game going. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're paying 6. You're getting 3 cards and 3 mana.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you're really only losing 3 mana. But like you said, there's a drawback. You gotta kind of try to hold it.
Yeah, I love the art. The art's really nice.
Are you talking about ways to make yourself a target?
This is definitely...
Yeah. I tell you, who wants to draw 3 cards? Everybody.
I do.
Everybody.
I do. Alright, none of these cards are new, so we can go through this pretty quickly. Sharding Sphinx. Whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may create a 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Pretty solid. Thopter Spy Network is also pretty good. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control an artifact, you create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Whenever one or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Really strong. In this deck, really, really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Blasphemous Act is a board wipe, and Inkwell Leviathan is just a problem for people to deal with.
Yeah.
Right? Trample, Island Walk, Shroud. I don't even know what has Trample. Like, a lot of times this card is unblockable.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's also a 7/11. If they somehow don't have islands or whatever, it's a 7/11 Trampler.
And it survives a lot of like the wipes in this board. So not Blasphemous Act, but a lot of the other stuff. Damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And they can't target it. Moving on, we have Hellkite Igniter, 7 mana 5/5 flyer with haste. Remember that 6/5 flyer with haste?
Yeah.
For 6? Yeah. You can pay 2 and give him +X+O, where X is the number of artifacts you control.
It's repeatable.
It is repeatable. This is true.
Very strong.
This is true. In this deck, that can be pretty strong.
In this deck, he can get quite big.
So, Magma Quake, Also pretty solid in this deck. You don't play a lot of cards that don't fly in this deck. So that's not bad. And it hits Planeswalkers.
Yep. Important.
That's important for you. Blink Moth Urn. At the beginning of each player's pre-combat main phase, if it's untapped, that player adds that for each artifact they control, which you're laughing.
Tons of mana.
And Chaos Warp's just really good removal. Cheap, instant speed, and it can hit anything.
Yeah. Chaos Warp. That's Chaos Warp.
Next we have some artifacts. Darksteel Juggernaut. 5 mana indestructible. Power and toughness equal to number of artifacts you control. And it attacks each turn if able. Anything to add?
No, it's a good card because of how much artifacts we have in the deck.
Duplicant is one of the best removal spells in EDH in my opinion. Not much else to say there. He exiles stuff, and if they're big, he's big. But key thingy is he exiles stuff. And in this deck where you can create copies of Duplicant pretty easily,
yeah,
it's even better. And you have him right next to Mimic Vat here, which I mean, I don't know if I'd put him under there because Mimic Vat dies a lot, but
Mimic Vat with Brutaclad is going to be stupid. That
true.
Combination is going to be very good.
True. And we have Bosch Iron Golem. That's a card I haven't seen in a long time.
It's an old favorite for me. I don't know why, but I always liked that card.
It's because he looks like Thanos. He looks like he has steroids.
I mean, it was Chris Bosch time when it came out too, I guess.
So 8 mana, 6/7 with Trample. You can sacrifice an artifact, and he does damage equal to the sacrificed artifact converted mana cost to any target. Not a bad card.
So we got our extra rares now because we're short on mythics, right?
This is true. And we have Mirabelle Sphere. It's probably one of the best creatures in this deck. 7 mana, 4/7, creates tokens when it comes into play. When it attacks, you can tap them down to make him bigger and do direct damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. Pretty solid. And again, you're creating all these tokens. This is a card where you create a token of this card and you get the mirror artifact tokens for free. And they don't go away, right? So it's pretty good. Thoughts?
Like I said, good card. Lots of synergy.
Alright, next we have Prototype Portal for 4 mana. Has Imprint. When Prototype Portal enters a battlefield, you may exile an artifact card from your hand. You can pay X to create a token that's a copy of the exiled card. X is the converted mana cost of that card. This deck creates a lot of artifact tokens.
Like I said, there seems to be more Brutaclad synergy throughout this deck than
that's how I'm feeling
seeing
too.
with the main commander.
That's how I'm feeling too. I almost feel like the other Saheeli would be better for this deck than this one, but whatever. Psychosis Crawler. Have we seen a lot of card draw so far?
Well, this deck is short on card draw.
Because this card thrives on that.
Yeah.
Right? This is a card that gets better the more card draw you have. Anyways, Psychosis Crawler is a good card. I've won a lot of games with that card. And we move on to Mirror Works here. 5 mana artifact. Whenever another non-token artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2. If you do, create a token as a copy of that artifact. Thoughts?
Yeah, good card. I mean, you cop more tokens, and 2's not a lot to cost for a copy of something good. It's not a lot to pay for something like that. So I think Mirror Works is good. The initial cost of 5 feels bad sometimes if you can't utilize it right away. But I mean, like in a proper situation, especially this deck with the second +1 ability, you have a lot of spare mana. And it allows you to play something big and still have the +2 to pay for it. So I like this card in this deck.
True. Alright, moving on. Not really anything new here either. Steel Hellkite, just a really good card.
Good, yeah.
You know, it has kind of fire breathing, a little bit worse, but that second ability is just really strong. Thopter Assembly is kind of a weird card, but it fits into this deck very well.
And you always want Thopters, right?
And if you don't, a 5/5 flyer is not a bad substitute. Unwind and Clock here at 4 mana. You untap all artifacts you control during each other player's turn. So it's a Seedborn Muse for your artifacts, essentially. Yep. I mean, it's always cool to untap your stuff on other people's untapped stuff.
Absolutely.
And we have Scuttling Doom Engine. It's a 6-mana 6/6 construct, and it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. So all those people playing those stupid tokens.
Yeah.
And when he dies, it deals 6 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. There you go, planeswalker. I know that's your thing. What do you think?
I'm not a fan of this card.
No?
It's okay.
If they kill it, they get hit.
They kill it, they get hit. For the 6 mana investment, it's just like
6 colorless mana.
Yeah, I mean, still.
Alright.
It's okay. I know it's not a bad card, but the evasion is very situational.
Well, they can't chump block it with small creatures.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice, I guess.
If they block it with big creatures, they take 6. But I get your point. Alright, let's move on to uncommons here. We have Loyal Drake, 3 mana 2/2 flyer. It's a lieutenant. So at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, draw a card. I love that.
Yeah.
Nice and simple. Just draw a card.
Simple big card, yeah.
Yeah. And we have Loyal Apprentice. If you've watched the previous video, you already know we talked about this one. At the beginning of combat, if you control your commander, you make a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token. Actually, that goes better in this deck than the previous deck because it is an artifact creature.
Yep.
And next we have Geode Golem, 5 mana 5/3. Trampler, and when he deals combat damage to a player, you may cast your commander from the command zone without what?
Yeah, without paying its cost, yeah.
You still pay any additional costs.
Yeah.
But the base cost you don't pay. This is pretty good.
Yeah, you pay additional costs, like your commander has another cost, yeah.
This is pretty good. Especially when you can make copies of it.
I mean, it's just good.
So if one doesn't get through.
Trampler, right?
Yeah. I like this card. Huh. I didn't know this card existed. Alright,
I think we gotta double check, but I think it pays the tax too as well.
You think so?
I'm not positive, but I do think it's just additional costs. Some cards have the additional cost to sack it. Like if it comes into play, you still got a cost or.
Let us know down below if this skips the additional 2 each time it died or not. If you know. Alright, let's move on to Maverick Thopterist. 3 and red-blue for a 2/2 with Improvise. When he enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 color, stop the artifact creature tokens with flying. I'm kind of meh on this card.
It's very, yeah, especially in this deck, it's meh.
Yeah, I mean, if we could, I guess you can copy him and get more tokens, but most of the copying in this deck is for artifacts.
Why doesn't he even have flying himself?
He's a human.
He's in the
Soft.
He's in the rafters. So.
Yo, he's barely in the rafters. This guy's got luck for this world. It's a 2/2. If he falls, he's dying for sure. Alright, we have Thirst for Knowledge, which is perfect for this deck.
Yep.
Titans is just solid. Whirler Rogue is actually pretty good. Now this is better, for me, a better Maverick Thopterist. Mm-hmm. Right? This gets you your 2 artifact creature tokens, but you can tap 2 artifacts you control, and target creature can't be blocked this turn.
Yeah.
Right? And this costs 1 less.
I don't think the other card's a good card.
Yeah, neither do I. Next we have Reverse Engineer, 5 mana with Improvise, draw 3. So really, a lot of times this is going to be 2 mana, draw 3.
Yeah, it's a good card. Like I said, it needs more card draw in this deck. Definitely.
And we're seeing it now, right?
Oh, I think it needs even more than is in there, but I don't like the X draw spell or something like that. Something to fill your hand back up.
Fair enough. We have Dreamstone Hedron here, 6 mana, taps for 3. You can sacrifice it to draw 3 cards, and then you have Archive, which taps for 2, and you can sacrifice that to draw 2 cards. Those are always good. When you don't need the mana anymore and you're out of gas, you can get rid of it to kind of refill your hand.
Yeah, that's the good part, is that they have that dual ability.
And we have Magnifying Glass here, 3 mana artifact, taps for 1 mana, and you can pay 4 to investigate, which I like. It's not bad.
Yeah, like I said, the extra utility on the mana rock. Just something else you can do when you don't need the mana.
Yeah, exactly. You have Chief of the Foundry, which doesn't seem that great until you realize you make a bunch of servos and Thopters.
Yeah.
And other artifact creatures you can show get +1/+1. 2/2 Thopter is a much bigger threat than a 1/1 Thopter.
Yeah,
It seems like not that much more.
Especially 3/2s. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I was just gonna say, when you have 3 or more of them, it is a lot more. I'm not saying it's the best card in the deck, but it's not bad. Pilgrim's Eye, just a good card. You get to get a 1/1 flyer that you can block with. You can copy it and just keep getting more basics from your library to your hand. Scrabbing Claws, exile. Graveyard exiling is always pretty good in EDH in my opinion. And you can keep doing it with this one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Like I said, you just always got to take things away.
And the second part of the ability, if someone's going to do some kind of shenanigan, they target a card in the graveyard, you can say in response.
Yeah, like I said,
get rid of that and draw a card.
Yeah.
Soul Ring, Mind Stone, not much to say on those, pretty good.
Mana Rocks. Yeah.
And Unstable Obelisk is 3 mana rock, and you can pay 7 to sacrifice it to destroy target permanent. Pretty good.
It's color removal, right? So.
Yeah, it's mana rock early, and it's removal late game. Vessel of Endless Rest, another mana rock. Warm Power Stone, mana rock. And we have Swiftfoot Boots, which is...
Why is it in this deck? Makes no sense.
I guess it depends who you're playing as your commander.
I guess so, yeah. But
if you're playing your boy there...
It's built around...
Saheeli?
Saheeli.
I don't know, I was trying to think of who you'd put this on, Mirror Battlesphere or Bosch, but yeah, I don't know. Because most of the stuff we're going to be dealing with seem token-oriented. But also, I guess you can copy this, too, from multiple creatures, I don't know.
I guess. Why would you want to do that, but...
Alright, we have Darksteel Citadel, which apparently is an uncommon now. Foundry of Consoles. Not bad. You can sacrifice it to make Thopters.
Utility lands. Like I said, there's some decent uncommon lands.
Highland Lake doesn't gain you a life.
Huh? Another coming to play tap. No life, yeah.
No life. Bad card. And we have Bird Rune, which is pretty good, in my opinion. You can sacrifice it to return an artifact card from your graveyard to your hand in an artifact deck. Thoughts?
I think you're probably gonna return the right artifact, so I like this.
Well, it's not random, right?
Yeah, so that's what I like. I think it's targeted. So
and the final one is it Boilerworks. Not much to say about that. All right, let's move on to the commons. We have Into the Royal.
Yeah, I think it is bounce.
Command Sphere, another mana rock, and you can sack it to draw a card. Those are always good, like we said. Dr. Engineer, it used to be uncommon. I guess now it's common. I don't.
That's uncommon. That's uncommon.
Yeah, but now it's in the common section of the deck list.
No, the symbol is uncommon.
This is a common symbol?
Uncommon.
That's what I'm saying. When it came out, it was uncommon, but it was in the common section of the deck list when I was looking at it, so I don't know if they downgraded it.
No, the card. Okay, all right.
I just used the first art I found.
Yeah, that's the card that comes in the deck.
As uncommon?
I don't know.
Anyways, I think this is a pretty good card. 3 mana, 1/3. When it enters the battlefield, you create a Thopter token, and artifact creatures you control have haste, which is huge.
Yeah.
And we have Ethereum Sculptor, which is, I guess, kind of a... What do you call these cards?
I don't know the name, but your artifacts cost 1 less, so there's a lot of artifacts.
The old lords used to do this.
Yeah. Same type of ability.
Yeah. Don't sleep on that card. The Sculptor
definitely good card.
Is an enabler. And we have Prismatic Lens. You can tap it for a colorless, or you can pay 1 and tap it for 1 mana of any color.
How much mana fixing do we need, really?
In a 2-color deck, probably not that much, but I mean...
Especially when you're paying 1 to do it.
It's an artifact mana rock.
For 2, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Forge of Heroes, taps for a colorless. You can put a 1/1 counter on your commander if it's a creature, or a loyalty counter on if it's a planeswalker. Command Tower is a staple land at this point. And we have Izzet Signet. Guildgate, Seat of the Synod, which is good, very good in this deck. Okay, there we go. There's the gain life. Swiftwater Cliffs comes into play tapped and gains your life. Great Furnace. And then we have 12 mountains and 15 islands. This is the best. I love this mountain art. So, what are your final thoughts on this one?
I think the deck, a lot of the cards seem better with Brutaclid. That's a card that has me most excited, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I think I'll tinker around with. I think when tuned, though, I'm sure Saheeli is going to be very strong. I can see that there's potential for some big ultimates. It's just, I think they were very careful to keep the power of what she could do in deck at a fair level, right? So I think when built and tuned to be unfair, especially with the control that the colors provide,
mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be a good deck.
All right, so me personally, I don't like this deck. Yeah. This one's not for me. I'll say that. If I was gonna run this deck, though, I probably would run that creature you were talking about.
The Brutaclad?
Yeah, as a commander. But yeah, this deck doesn't appeal to me that much. There's some fun cards in there. But especially in our play groups where artifacts and enchantments don't live very long, I don't know if this is the deck I'd want to go all in on.
No, but I think this deck, when tuned properly, probably wins when it ultimates.
I don't think it's going to ultimate very often.
That's the question, right?
Yeah. But there's a lot of good cards in here that are new cards, a lot of fun cards. This isn't my kind of deck. That, everyone has their preference. But you like this one overall?
I know it's not my favorite deck, but I definitely see it. I think it's tuned to a specific segment of player. It's not my
we know those.
It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite deck, but I think I definitely see the appeal to it.
Something the Meek would play.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
He add more mana rocks to it.
Yeah, not. So, anything else you have to say?
No.
So I think that's it for this one. Thank you guys for watching.
Alright, guys. See you in the next one.
Alright.